Thank you very much. And here we go. The show has started. I've kind of thought there'd be something more interesting, right? Like music, yeah, but we don't need no stinking music because we got the mayor of Mesa, Arizona, right? So that's all the entertainment you guys deserve, apparently. I'm happy to be here. I am, as was mentioned, the substitute teacher for Mark Cordes, who obviously is somewhere that we would all like to be right now. I think, as you know, Mark has an ongoing gig as a comedian on cruise lines. So bless his heart, you know, that we hope Mark's having a lot of fun. Today's show, ladies and gentlemen, though, you're better off being with us than you are with Mark on a cruise line today, because we got a lot of really good stuff to talk about. There's a lot of great stuff going on in our city. There's a lot of stuff that the Mesa Chamber of Commerce is neck deep in, and so we're excited to share a lot of that with you. I know I was just informed that we have representatives from Senator Flake's office and Congressman Biggs in the office. Thank you very much. Hopefully nothing that we do today will need federal cleaning up, but it's nice to know that you're here just in case. The state government hopefully is here as well in case anybody needs a driver's license. I'm not sure what they do other than issue driver's license, but okay, this is the laugh track box, okay? When I say something that's not funny, I'm going to open the box and get a laugh. All right, so as I indicated in the pre-show, I love this show because it reminds me of a minor league baseball game. The reason that we're here is to promote businesses and to network and to have fun and to learn a lot about what's going on in the city of Mesa. But to make this possible, there are sponsors. There's businesses that have made contributions to cover the cost of this show, so we're very appreciative to them. Chief among them, Crescent Crown Distributing. Thank you very much for the use of this beautiful building. But also included with them in the behind-the-scenes sponsorships are Alpha Graphics, Gateway Bank, the Hilton Phoenix Mesa Hotel, the East Valley Tribune, and today we have a very special episode sponsor that I'm excited to talk to, Oregon Stop Pizza. And today's breakfast was provided by Moreno's Mexican Grill. Also, for those who are here, you're going to walk out with a lovely gift bag. How many people remember Ladmo bags? Anybody? Okay, great. Surprising amount of people know what a Ladmo bag is. For those of you who don't, that'll be a little research project. Ask somebody really old that you know, that grew up in Arizona, what a Ladmo bag is. But these bags remind me of Ladmo bags because there's lots of good stuff in them. Don't forget to walk out with your Ladmo bag / Mesa Community College. They're the ones who pay for that, and there's a lot of good swag inside those bags. So thank you to all the businesses that help to put those bags together. Also, I've been instructed to remind you that it is not good manners to have your cell phone go off during the taping of a television show. So if you could please switch your phones to vibrate, which is probably even more disturbing than having it ring. But somehow, please don't have your phone go off during the show, or you'll be encouraged to make a contribution to a good cause. All right, the first the first person that we're going to talk to today is, and I'm right on time. This is amazing. That's the last time it's going to happen today. Is Jack Bars from Oregon Stop Pizza, and I am very excited to hear more about Oregon Stop Pizza. Jack, please come on up. Thank you, Jack. Thank you. Please. Okay, show me raise your hand if you've been to Oregon Stop Pizza. Look, I don't see anybody's hand not up here. Jack, Oregon Stop Pizza is a big deal. You understand that, right?
Oh, it's a huge deal.
It is. Now, I'm born and raised in Mesa. I'm raising 5 kids in Mesa, and they love Oregon Stop Pizza. When my kids, even my adult kids, my 30-year-old daughter, on her birthday, she wants to go to Oregon Stop Pizza. So remind us how long Oregon Stop Pizza has been in Mesa.
We have been in Mesa since 1975. That's when our first location opened up down at Southern and Dobson.
Okay, so that building that you're in right now, Southern and Dobson, was built in 1975.
Well, no, that was the original building.
Okay.
The building we're in now at Stapley and Southern, we built in 95.
That's right. So 95. Great.
Yes.
So inside, for those, if there's anybody out there who doesn't get Oregon Stop Pizza, it's a great pizza parlor, but you walk in and there's this huge Wurlitzer organ that's got, and bells and whistles is a phrase we use a lot, but this is literally bells and whistles and a million other things attached to this organ, right?
It is. It's the largest theater pipe organ that's ever been created on Earth. We have over 6,000 pipes and well over 100 different miscellaneous instruments and sound effects and stuff throughout the whole dining room that you get to experience.
So is this organ and this restaurant, is this like a one-off thing, or are there millions of organ stop pizzas around the country with similar organs in them?
Oh no, we're it.
You're it?
We're it.
Okay, so this is a once in a lifetime experience.
Absolutely.
To go to Organ Stop Pizza. And it's in Mesa, Arizona.
And it's in Mesa, yeah.
That's very cool. So you guys are, like I say, kind of a legacy establishment in our community, but another thing that I love about Organ Stop Pizza is that you guys are great community partners. I mean, there's a lot of good businesses in Mesa, and there are some that are very, very engaged in the community, and you guys are in that category. Tell us some of the great things that you do to be a good corporate citizen.
Well, we've been so incredibly fortunate to have had such success in Mesa that we really need to give back. And our biggest promotion that we do every year is Christmas in July for the United Food Bank. We teamed up with them about 5 years ago, and working with Melissa has been an absolute pleasure. We're actually the reigning champions from last year. We raised more food and more money than any other business in Mesa. So, I mean, and when I say we, it really isn't us. It's our wonderful customers that come in and do everything. The only thing we do is for everybody that brings in food for the month of July, we give them a discount in the kitchen, a 10% discount, as well as any cash donations that we receive during July, we match those. So last year we were able to write a check for about $8,000 to the food bank. Wow. And I really want to make that $10,000 this year, so we do have a donation box at my table back there in the lobby. If anybody wants to put something in there, Melissa would love you for it, we would love you for it, and like I said, we will match whatever cash donations come in. So
That's wonderful. So everyone, Christmas in July is a United Food Bank program where I think we all know that we see a lot of activity around food drives around the holidays. People apparently eat 12 months out of the year. And so it's important that that we raise food the rest of the year as well, right? So when you see these boxes, please donate food. But as Jack was saying, financial contributions are also very much appreciated. I was talking to our friend Dave Richens a moment ago, CEO of United Food Bank. They can buy food a lot cheaper than we can. So cans of food are great. A little bit of money is even better because they'll take that dollar that you spend on that can and buy 10 cans with it. So thank you for not just the food drive portion of this, but the financial contribution, because that's where we're really putting a dent in this thing.
absolutely.
Well, Jack, what's next for Organ Stop Pizza? Do you just keep on keeping on, or what are your plans?
Pretty much. I mean, we do continue to expand the organ whenever possible. There's very few organ parts that would complement the instrument left in the world. You know, these things were all built, you know, our organ was originally built in 1927. We do have some organ pipes that were built in 1918. But they're hard to come by now. So every once in a while, a new set of pipes will come in that we say, oh, we have to have that. It finally became available, we want it. We're gonna add it to the instrument, not just for making it bigger, but just to give our organists something a little bit different to mess around with. They can gain more tonal qualities to expand their repertoire. But yeah, we're just gonna keep going like we have been.
That's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, you'll see me on all my kids' birthdays. And if you haven't been to Organ Stop Pizza, it is a real experience. It is one of the really cool things to do in Mesa, Arizona. Kids love it, and also seniors love it. I'm surprised. 0 to 90 loves Organ Stop Pizza.
Well, and that's what I always say, 2 to 102. You
Yeah.
know, it's a restaurant that everybody in the whole family can go and enjoy and have a good time.
Great. Jack, thanks for being an icon in Mesa, and thanks for all the good stuff that Organ Stop Pizza does in our community.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate you. Thank you very much. You bet. You know, sometimes I'm prone to exaggeration, but not then. Organ Stop Pizza really is cool. You guys, if you haven't been there, you're going to thank me, and I take all credit, you know, if you go there. And have a good experience. The next, this is another great community person that I'm excited to introduce you to. There's a wonderful organization called the Jocelyn Tangatau Foundation. The president is Leilani Tangatau. Leilani, please come up and tell us more about this great organization. Thank you. Sorry to make you come up from the back of the room like that. Leilani, we have a great organization in town called the Gateway Bank, and they have made a generous donation to make this segment possible, where we can highlight some great human service providers in our community. We're excited to know more about the Jocelyn Tangatau Foundation. I understand the purpose of this is palliative and respite care for children that are experiencing significant health challenges. Is that right?
Correct.
Tell us more about why that's something that we need in our community.
Well, it's poorly understood. The United States only has 2 respite care facilities, Bryan House being the second. And our ultimate goal is, of course, to build one here in the East Valley. There are 5,000 families here who have a child with a terminal illness. Ryan's House is able to serve a fraction of those families, but there's just a crucial need for family to get that type of relief.
Right. So palliative care and respite care is aimed at families that are struggling with a terminal illness with a child in their family. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Now, tell me your personal connection, your family story to why is this a cause that is dear to you?
Our youngest daughter, Jocelyn, hence the name, was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy type 1 at 6 months of age. We've never heard of this disease, and of course, we reached out and just didn't know who to get the help that we need to provide care for our daughter. She is the most acute patient that anyone can take care of. She's trach to ventilator dependent, is unable to move her body, but it does not affect her mind. She's very intelligent. She does have an eye gaze device that helps her communicate. She does attend school Monday through Thursday. But overall, she just requires a lot of care.
Okay. So organizations like yours, it sounds like, are not plentiful. And we're trying to kind of cultivate and nurture your organization here in the East Valley and the Mesa area. What can people do to assist you in that effort?
Well, just donate, help support our mission, volunteer, spread the word, and educate people about what respite care and palliative care is. Palliative care is an approach to improving the quality of life for families who have a child with a terminal illness, and respite care is that relief that these families need. Hence, our daughter gets 12 hours of nursing care daily, but the rest of the time is her father and I. And we also have 3 other children. So it's challenging to balance life daily.
If someone in the audience today wants to get involved in helping you, what's the best way for them to contact you or to learn more, website or other information?
Yes, so you can reach us on our website, the Jocelyn Tangatau Foundation. It's at www.jtfinc.org. They also can reach us by phone at 888-297-2985. And again, if anyone has property here in the East Valley that they'd like to donate and start this building, this respite facility, that would
Thank you.
Move mountains.
You bet. Well, hopefully we'll help get the word out, and we wish you the best. We'll do what we can to help, and thank you for making us aware of this important organization in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. You bet. Thank you. All right, moving right along, the next segment is what we call our mystery guest, and that's, so I'm sure there's lots of tension and over who are we going to bring up as our mystery guest. And I'm proud to announce that the topic of this segment is a campaign that I'm very excited about called Imagine Mesa. I love being the mayor of Mesa. It's a fun job. It's a great job. Ask anybody on the city council or involved in city government. This is a great community, a great cause to be involved in. But one of the frustrations of this job is, frankly, we need community engagement. We need the community to give us ideas. We need feedback from the community. Sometimes the only people we hear from are the 4 or 5 people that seem to be unhappy, that spend their 24 hours on social media. And that's fine. We're curious to hear what they think, but we're also interested in hearing from the other 500,000 people that live in the city of Mesa. And so in order to do that, we have to go out and get in your face and ask you questions and have a outreach campaign. So that's what this Imagine Mesa is. This is your chance to interact with city government, to give us some good ideas. There's a lot of really smart people in this community that have got great ideas. They see things in other communities, or they come up with things on their own. We're dying to hear more about this. So the best way for you to share those ideas with us is through this program called Imagine Mesa. I know we have a short video that explains it. Let's please run the video.
It all starts with a spark of imagination. When you imagine Mesa's future, what comes to mind? We want to hear from you and your neighbors as we shape our next Mesa. It's easy to share your ideas. First, submit your idea at imaginemesa.com. It can be as big as a citywide program or as simple as a new park bench. Make your idea easy for others to envision by adding a photo or link. Once you have put the finishing touches on your idea, share it with your friends on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag #ImagineMesa. Others who like your idea can become supporters and even build off your idea. And don't forget to check out other community input. View, comment, and support as many projects as you like. That's it. Be the spark. Share your ideas for making Mesa amazing.
Great. Thank you very much. So it's really that easy. Go to imaginemesa.com. It's a beautiful website, lots of great ideas. But we're hoping that between now and the end of October, we're going to get thousands and thousands of responses and ideas. And so in order to make sense out of all the data that's going to be hopefully generated during this campaign, we have created a citizens committee to organize the data and make recommendations. I'm glad that we have with us today one of the co-chairs of that committee, Levi Leba. Would you please come up and tell us a little bit more about Imagine Mesa? Levi, thanks. Have a seat. So Levi, thank you for being a great businessman and a guy who's raising a young family in Mesa and very involved in our community. I know you serve on boards and do a lot in the community. And so I thank you for taking on the responsibility of co-chairing the Citizens Committee to help give us these ideas. What was it? Why are you raising your young family in Mesa, Levi? What is it that you like about this community?
Well, I have 2 sons here that were actually born here in Mesa, so my wife and I have a bond with the city of Mesa. And I envision the future of Mesa to have 21st century technology where we can foster growth within the community. And like the video stated, there's a lot of untapped resources that are out there right now that we haven't been able to get. And this Imagine Mesa forum is a great way to get that. Where people can provide input and they can provide their ideas and share with us exactly what you think the future of Mesa can be.
That's great. Have you been monitoring? Are we already getting some good ideas coming on through the website that are being posted and talked about?
There's actually I think right now 143 different ideas on the website. So there's going to be a lot of engagement, and we anticipate a lot more engagement to be. So right now it's a ranking system. So the most popular idea that somebody submitted, you can vote on it, and then they get ranked at the top. So there's a lot of great ideas, and I anticipate a lot more ideas, and that's why the whole Spark idea came from, is where somebody can submit an idea, and it might spark the creative of somebody reading that, and they might say, you know what, that'll also bring this idea about. So that's the whole idea with Imagine Mesa.
Great. Do we have some slides of some of the examples of things that people are posting? Okay, so here's a slide. So far, for example, out in Eastmark, apparently someone suggested that they might need a new fire station out there. That's generated quite a bit of support. So far, 108 people have logged on to agree with that idea. And it is a great idea, by the way. But this is just an example. I mean, if you know, for example, in your part of Mesa, boy, we could sure use a swimming pool, or we could sure use more youth sports fields, or those types of ideas. This is your opportunity.
Yeah.
And it seems like that this is resonating, and we're going to hear from some people.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely.
So again, we're going to use social media as a big part of this, but so you might see some ads, you know, when you're scrolling through Facebook saying, hey, log on and tell us a little bit more about what's important to you. But don't wait for people to beg you to get back to us, okay? In fact, I didn't say, if you don't mind, everybody pull out your phones right now, if you would. The phones we told you to put away earlier. Pull them out. If you're watching on television, pull out your phone, and let's just take a sample of how easy this is. I'm going to my Safari browser, and I'm going to put in Imagine, and I get like the first 3 letters in, and I hit Imagine Mesa Home.
And
so,
I'm an Android person, so I'm using Firefox, just to let you guys know.
Okay, Firefox. That's kind of cute. I've never really heard of Firefox. We're an Apple community, Levi. Can you imagine that?
I actually use my phone for work, though.
All right, okay. I'm just kidding. Imagine Mesa, and then just punch it, and what comes up is a lot of really pretty pictures, because this is a very visual platform. So you'll scroll through and you see things that you say, well, here's people on bikes. Yeah, I'd kind of like to have maybe more bike paths in Mesa. Is that a good idea? Or maybe I hate bike paths, and so I'm going to vote no on that. And you can see a bunch of other great ideas relative to businesses and just engagement in the community. So I think that the tool that Imagine Mesa has put online is actually very good, and something that people are going to find easy to interact with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Levi, thank you very much for all you do in the community. Thank you for agreeing to be a part of this great campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, please give us a piece of your mind. This is your opportunity to point out what you like about Mesa or what you'd like to see better. I mean, my job is to brag about Mesa. It's a great job. I love it. But the more important part of this job is to ask people, what can we do better? We want to improve. If a city is standing still, you know, that's not what we want. We want to get better and better. So please engage with us and give us as much feedback as you can on that topic. Thanks again, Levi. We appreciate all you do in our community, and thank you for this, for helping with Imagine Mesa.
Oh, thank you.
You bet. Thank you. All right, well, okay, I know there's a lot of good stuff on the show. This is traditionally the part of the show that I enjoy a lot. I'm not sure this is the week that I'm going to enjoy it as much as I have in previous weeks. But our great Mesa Chamber Communication, oh, here, I forgot, there's like okay, let's roll the video for top 10. Thank you. How many people are old enough to remember the Letterman Show and top 10 and that theme music? Thank you, there's 2 of us in the room. All right, so the top 10 list. And Bob has come up with a great top 10 list for us today. These are the top 10, what are these, Bob? The top 10 tourist fails. All right, so here we are on number 10, ladies and gentlemen. Number 10 tourist fail is this great article, A Tourist Bitten by Monkeys on Trip to Cure Primate Phobia. Now, when I saw this, I thought it was going to be a story about the monkey ranch in Mesa, Arizona. How many people have seen that story? All right. Sally, you need to schedule me to come back and talk about the monkey ranch, okay? Because I've actually taken a tour of the monkey ranch. It's real, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll come back another time and tell you more about that. Number 9 is this photograph. Now, this is a little awkward because somehow my family photo from our vacation got mixed into the videos. That should never have gotten up there. I apologize, okay? I feel horrible about that. Next, number 8, rather. Now, you got to look at this for a while before you figure it out. Everybody's seen the picture, right, where you do this on the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But if you're not lined up exactly in front of that person, it kind of, to me, it looks like kind of a Saturday Night Fever, party because everybody's doing the John Travolta finger in the air thing. But that apparently is a tourist fail. Okay, number 7. I'm not sure why that's a fail, but okay. There's a plane in the background. Yeah, okay, yeah, right. If he's taking a selfie, then I guess he just got an airplane in it. You got, yeah, all right. Well, okay, number 6. Now this one makes sense to me. Note to self, right? Close the sky roof when you're driving through a jungle, right? All right, number 6. Number 5. Again, this photo, you got to look at it for a while before you get even a little bit disturbed. There's these circles on the beach. I assume this is some sort of World War II garbage that's been left behind on a beach. And there's a woman pretending to jump out of a cement egg. But, okay, that's not a good tourist fail. Okay, number 4. I don't have anything to say about that, okay? Don't do that on your vacation, I guess, right? Number 3. Again, not the best way to interact with wildlife on your family vacation. Buffalo are prone to not be cuddly. Don't do that. Number 2. See, now you're right. That's the right reaction. That's not nice, right? Whoever staged this photograph needs to be turned over to Child Protective Services. Right? So I see Yvonne Martinez's name on the bottom of these photographs. I never imagined that Yvonne would do this to a child like that. All right, and the number 1 is... See, now, if the last photo was Child Protective Service referral, this has got to be Adult Protective Services referral, right? Because that just doesn't... is she doing that voluntarily, is the question to ask. All right, well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Those were the top 10 vacation fails, right? All right, thank you very much. Okay, next is a very fun segment called the Wheel of Prizes. Everybody's familiar with this, right? The Wheel of Prizes. Let's transition over to the Wheel of Prizes. So, again, there's music. Okay, Blood, Sweat, and Tears? Blood, Sweat, and Tears? Lee? Yes. Okay, yeah, there's again, 3 people in the room old enough to recognize that music. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Wheel o' Prizes. And so we've got all kinds of great chamber members that have volunteered huge gifts associated with this. I think each one of these is a minimum of $50. So now the really exciting part of this game is if you land on one of these, oh, here we go, jackpot. This is what we all want to have happen. If you land on jackpot, you get the whole thing, all right? And the combined value of all of these $50 certificates is about $1 million. So you'll be on the front page of the newspaper if you land right here, all right? So we are going to pick a lucky name out of this box who's going to come up and spin the wheel and compete for the $1 million jackpot. And the person that is going to spin is Shalee Robinson from Great American. Shalee, thank you. Welcome. Come on up. George is a lucky guy. Sitting next to George is a great way to start coming to...
I love it. I told him, I'm going to win.
Well, you were right. So here, again, this is what you're looking for, Shalee. So give it a nice, firm spin, and let's see how you do.
Okay, and I'm not going to watch.
All right. I should kind of put my thumb on it, right? Whoa! Shalee, you were this... Okay, you weren't this close. You were this close.
But that was really close.
But we have the business showcase, which is 3 minutes on Mason. Oh, this is actually worth a lot more than $50. This is a value of $250. So in other words, you get to come back to a Mesa Morning Live show, and the entire hour-long program, we're going to do nothing but hear more about Great American Title.
Yes.
That's great. Or at least 3 minutes of the hour, okay?
I'll take the hour.
Okay. Well, congratulations. We'll look forward to Mark Cordeas spending some quality time with you. We should just do more of that, right? I mean, the other segments are great, but we all love the Wheel of Prizes. All right, well, we're even close to being on time. I'm excited. So thank you to Mesa Morning Live for sponsoring that, and we look forward to having Shalee come back and tell us more about her business. All right, the next segment, ladies and gentlemen, okay, this is the real reason that you're here, all right? One of my favorite people in the city of Mesa is our fire chief. We've gone through the process recently, how long ago? Maybe 6 months ago, 7 months ago. We had a wonderful fire chief who retired, and we thought, well, what are we going to do now? And so went through a very detailed process and came up with this wonderful person. Now, I have never met, and it's going to sound again like I'm exaggerating, which I'm prone to do, but this person is everyone's favorite person. When I talk to people, and sometimes I'll just, out of the blue, say, tell me who your favorite person in the city of Mesa is, or who's the nicest person in the city of Mesa. The name that comes up over and over again is Mary Camilli. If you don't know Mary, this is your chance to get to know her better. We're very lucky that she's our fire chief. Mary Camilli, please come up. Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
Mayor, I don't think David Letterman has anything on you. You're doing amazing as a talk show host.
Well, having you on the show, it helps a lot, Mary. So I did actually a horrible job of introducing Mary, so let me try this over again. Mary is famous for a lot of reasons. Number one, she's the chief of a really big deal fire department. Mesa Fire Department is, and again, sounds like I'm exaggerating, it's known around the United States as one of the most innovative, one of the best fire departments. And that's partly because Mary has been with it for so long and been in a leadership role and been doing a lot of the innovative things that Mesa is so famous for. So, Mary, at the risk of embarrassing you, when did you start with the Mesa Fire Department?
I started in 1983 as a firefighter.
Okay.
One of the first 2 women hired back then.
So we hired 2 women at the time, started a fire. You went to the academy. You and one other woman.
Right.
And now you're the fire chief in Mesa, Arizona.
That's correct.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Mesa and the fire department have kind of changed over the years, right?
A bit, yes,
Yes.
they have. Yeah.
For example, we don't have a Mesa Fire Department anymore, do we?
Nope, we've changed that name a few years back, Mayor.
Great, and what's the name of your organization?
So now the fire department is Mesa Fire and Medical Department. As time went on, initially Mesa Fire was fighting fire only. And as years go on, we find out that we're getting more and more medical calls, and we felt it was really, really important to just put medical in our name. So folks know, because usually a fire truck shows up at someone's house and they said, I didn't call the fire department, I have a medical call. Well, we do it all. We're all hazards department, one-stop shop. We do medical and fire. So that's why we decided to put medical in our name, because that's 80% of what we do every day.
That's great. And so Mesa has grown quite a bit over that period of time. For those who might not be paying attention, just a couple of weeks ago, the latest census figures came out, and Mesa moved from being 38th to 36th largest city in the United States.
Right.
485,000 people, which means when the Cubs are playing a game, 500,000 people in the city of Mesa. So, Mary, how do we respond? How do you take care of 500,000 people?
Right, so we have 20 fire stations. We have 432 firefighters in the field. And so we are very, very busy in Mesa. During Cub season, our call volume, of course, increases tremendously, which we're good with. We are prepared for that. But we just manage our resources. We try and be as efficient as we possibly can with our resources so we can respond on the 66,000 calls that we get each year, that we've gotten last year. And every year it goes up by 3 to 5%.
66,000 calls last year.
Right.
That's amazing. And so, as you know, Mesa is well known as a community that tries to do more with less. Part of the things that people love about Mesa is we're an affordable community. We don't tax people a lot. So in order to do that, we have to be innovative, right? What are some of the, and Mesa Fire is famous for being innovative. Give us some examples of the things that Mesa Fire does to be innovative.
Great. We have an amazing staff. It's never one person that does all the work. We have an amazing group of folks that work behind the scenes to really make things happen. Something we did 3 years ago is we applied for a $12 million healthcare grant, which we were fortunate enough to get. We decided some calls are low acuity calls and maybe don't need 4 people to be on the scene. So what we did was we combined a nurse practitioner with a paramedic, 2-person units, and we put those to respond on low acuity calls. Now the benefit of these calls is sometimes when you have someone with a minor injury, maybe we get a call, and we get an array of calls, from critical, life-threatening, right, some in the middle, and some that are emergent for the person. Maybe someone calls for a sinus infection, they live by themselves, they're by themselves. In the past, if we had nowhere else to take them, we would take them to the ER. But with this nurse practitioner unit, what we do on the scene right now is the nurse practitioner assesses the patient, writes a script, gives them an antibiotic on scene, the person can stay home. Number 1 is best for the patients. Number 2 is best for the healthcare system as a whole. And it prevents the patient, generally elderly or extremely young. Oftentimes when you go to the ER, you are exposed to many other germs and can get sick of other germs that you've been exposed to as well. So it's an all-around great way to treat the patient and be efficient.
It really is, and I think over any given day, it's not unusual that there are fire departments from all over the United States visiting Mesa, learning more about this program.
We do have calls. We've talked to FDNY, Colorado, California. A few departments actually put this in place in their cities after they came and spoke to us when we started the grant 3 years ago. Now a couple of departments are doing this very thing in their cities.
That's great. So we have those community care units that roll on the low acuity calls. The goal is to provide medical care, not necessarily transport someone to the emergency room. That's great. And there's also mental health vehicles, is that correct?
Right.
Tell us about that.
So in addition to this, we have behavioral health units, and that is to respond on strictly behavioral health calls. In our city, call volume for behavioral health type calls increased three times. So they tripled in the number of calls we were going on behavioral health type of issues. So we have a crisis counselor paired up with a captain paramedic on a 2-person unit, and they respond strictly on behavioral health type calls. Again, in the past for behavioral health, and that's a very touchy subject. Anytime someone would even threaten, let's just say a suicide type call, we would have to take them to the ER, because they're a danger to themselves. That person would sit in the ER maybe 2 days, 3 days, and then get transported to a behavioral facility. With this unit now, we call out the behavioral health unit. They come to the scene, they assess the patient right there. They determine whether the patient can stay home with family around, and they put a safety plan in place, or they determine whether they need to go straight to a behavioral facility. In doing that, and we've been very, very successful, about 80% of the patients they go on, they've been able to divert from going to the ER. They've either left them at home with the safety plan with family, or have taken them directly to a behavioral facility. Again, was absolutely best for the patient. Because they don't need to go to the ER. Now some we have to take to the ER because of medical components, but 80% of those patients did not need to go to the ER, and we've taken them directly to a behavioral facility.
I'm not sure everyone understands what a big deal that is. If you have a mental health scenario and you can take someone, if you can bypass the emergency room where that individual would sit sometimes for many, many hours, if not days, before they got the right certification to go to a mental health facility. Think of how much better that is, not just for that person, but for that person's family and for the healthcare system. So this is a national debate we're in the middle of right now, healthcare and how do we respond. And Mesa is a great place to look for some very innovative answers on this.
And another piece of the behavioral health, children, for some reason, children, when they end up going to the ER for behavioral health, they're there for 5 days, 10 days, 12 days, because they're much more difficult to place. So when we go on children on these calls, sometimes those calls are like 4 hours long. It takes longer, but the patient goes right to a behavioral facility. So it prevents them from being in an ER for several days, and kids are generally there many, many days.
One of the privileges I have as mayor is the opportunity to go on ride-alongs with both police and fire. And whenever I do that, I'm struck with the impression that mental health and addiction are the root cause of nearly all of every time you go out on a call. And so that is an issue that we just can't continue to not focus on as much as we have in the past. Mary, what's kind of next for Mesa Fire in terms of being innovative and figuring out the most productive most affordable way to respond to some of the problems we have?
Great question, Mayor. So what we're doing now is we're expanding our social services. There's a couple things we're doing with that. We have what's called our loyalty customers, the ones that call many times. Anyway, so we find out that we need to, sometimes there's better ways to treat them. And so what we do is when someone goes on a patient that we've gone on many times, we all do electronic reporting. We've been doing electronic reporting for like 10 years now. The crew, when they get there and they realize this patient needs something beyond just 911, there's other services we could provide. They click the box on the electronic report. It goes to our social services division that has a behavioral health person, not a crisis counselor, but more that does social work. And then they'll go and meet with the family and meet with whoever the patient is. And then they give them the social services connections that they need for any further things beyond medical. Sometimes it's anxiety, sometimes it's elderly folks that are not ready to move into assisted living, but when you go on them many times, the social worker will work with them and get them connections that they need. So number one, it's best for them because they don't always need 911, but that was what they were used to doing. And the social service workers go out there now and they help them right there on spot and get them the connections they need.
That's great. That's a very compassionate way to do business, but frankly, it's also a very cost-effective way. Because like you say, if you're out doing preventative care, anticipating, hey, this is our umpteenth visit, what can we do to prevent this happening over and over again? You're not only helping that individual, you're saving the city a lot of money.
Absolutely. In fact, I just talked to the social worker yesterday, and she said we had a patient that we responded on 9 times, 4 months ago, 9 times in 2 months time period. The social workers went out there and they haven't called 911 for the last 5 months.
That's great.
So it's a really positive program.
Mary, there's lots of audience questions for you,
okay.
as I could have predicted. One of them is tell us what the Mesa Fire Department's role is with regard to our airports. For example, Gateway and Falcon. We have 2 very busy airports in our community. What role do you play there?
So we have called an ARF team. That's an aircraft rescue firefighting team at both airports. Gateway actually funds about 6 of our firefighters at Gateway, but we have a whole engine company and 2 foam trucks at Gateway. Foam trucks are the big aircraft trucks that when planes are on fire, if planes come in with problems, foam trucks go out there and they're ready to prepare to foam down the runway in case there's a fire. So we have 2 foam trucks and an engine at Gateway, and we also have a foam truck and a full engine company at Falcon Field as well. Even though Falcon Field is a general airport, it's a very busy airport. Yeah. So our firefighters are very well trained, and we have aircraft rescue firefighting specialties at both airports.
We ought to come back sometime and talk about nothing but the airports in Mesa. I think Falcon is one of either the 3rd or 4th busiest general aviation airport in the country, and Gateway is equally, if not, well, is more busy, but it's also a big commercial airport. Another question from the crowd is, tell us about staffing on a fire truck. Okay. So you've described a couple of different types of vehicles.
Right.
How do you staff the different vehicles that you?
So what is critical for Mesa and what we've done with the support of the mayor and the council is we have fire trucks strategically placed across the city. And that's so important because even though fires are 20% of our business, we never know where they're going to be. In Mesa, 3 or 4 times a day, we get a fire. We don't know where in the city it's going to be, so it's critical that we strategically place our 4-person units across the city. They're all hazards. They can provide any kind of care. And truly, when someone doesn't know who to call, if there's not a crime being committed, it's the fire department. We do on an array of type of calls. Every engine out there has a captain who is responsible for those 4 folks. An engineer is the driver and also responsible to pump the truck and make sure all the supplies and gear is ready to go on the truck every single morning, and then 2 firefighters. We need 4 people on every fire truck in the city. There's OSHA rules across that apply to the United States, but when someone goes in a fire, it's called the 2 in, 2 out rule. When 2 go in, you have to have 2 outside to prepare in case something happens. So that is so important that we have that. That's why we have 4 people on a unit. And it's not just for fires. There's so many medical calls. When someone has a heart attack, a drowning, all these traumatic type calls, you need 4 people there to really service the patient with the best care possible.
And again, I'd encourage people to look for an opportunity to do a ride-along with police and fire. Having had that experience, you'll come away with just this, the professionalism of the people that do this work for us is something that we all should be very proud of. Mary, to that topic, one of the questions that has just come up from the audience is talk about becoming a firefighter. What are the attributes of a firefighter? how are we doing in terms of staffing? Do we need more firefighters? Do we need more resources in your area?
Right. Question, where is that 108 people responded to the East Mark.
That's right. Yeah.
That's a growing area for Mesa, and right now, it's a long distance for us to get there. We don't have a station in that area just yet, but we want to make sure that we're able to service as much of the community and we're trying to get to any call within 5 minutes or less. But that's a goal of ours. We're not there doing that 100% of the time, but that is a goal. So we absolutely, firefighters would always help us in making sure we get to the call much sooner. We have crews that come from further away to get to certain areas in the city. So we do need staffing to be a firefighter. As fire chief, there's a few things we have amazing people right now. We're doing something right now in our workforce because we have 432 amazing people today. So whatever the process was in the past, it was done right when they looked for the qualities. But for sure, someone has to be a team player because in the fire department, you're never working alone. You're working as a team every day. Team player, hardworking, and the right attitude. We want people with compassion. When we respond on folks in the field, we need to be compassionate every day. You know, the city runs about 170 calls. The fire department runs about 170 calls a day just in the city of Mesa. And you need to be compassionate every single time. I don't care if you went on someone 1 time, 10 times, it's critical to show compassion every single time. The requirements are you have to be an EMT, you have to pass what's called it's a CPAT, which is a Certified Physical Abilities Test. They have you pull hose and go upstairs and do these kind of things to make sure you're physically fit enough to carry the gear. The gear that you wear, your SCBA, your breathing apparatus, and your turnouts weigh about 75 pounds. So you have to probably weigh more than 75 pounds in order to move around in the gear. That's probably one of the requirements. But there's no age limit. There used to be height. There's no height limit, no age limit. EMT, have physical abilities test, and then we take a written test. Last year, when we opened it up, we shut down at 1,200 applications. We received 1,200 applications in 3 hours and 45 minutes. So people went to go sign up that night, and they're like, I thought you opened it today, and we did. We opened it at 8, but it closed at 11:45 because we had 1,200 applications that fast. So we take a written exam, and then once we pass the written exam, we take about last time we took about the top 600 scores, and then we put them through one interview and then a second interview.
You know, I met some of the folks that have been through that process, and it is amazing that the quality of the folks that are attracted to the fire service is really off the charts.
Right.
I'm glad you guys have gotten a chance to kind of get a little more familiar with Mary. She really is one of the most impressive people you'll meet. So, Mary, people are asking questions about your background. Tell us about this cool story of you growing up and your family business and the grocery store. It's a great story.
Okay, thank you. So I'm number 6 of 13 kids in my family. We were brought up in a 3-bedroom home in Chicago Heights, Illinois. My family's still there. And we own an Italian grocery store. The store's been there 73 years. Actually, my mom worked in the store. Her parents owned it first, and she worked in the store as a teenager. And then the wedding gift, now with the kids who had grown up, we didn't know that was such a great gift when we all had to work in the store every day. But a wedding gift from my grandpa was give it to my mom and dad as a wedding gift. So then we had the store from there. So all the kids worked in the store from, as soon as you could add, you were a cashier in the grocery store. And so all of us loved math, but we all loved school only because every day off from school meant you had to go work in the store. So when the teacher would say, we're off for Memorial Day, we're off for Labor Day, we'd go, oh, no. So we all had to work in the store. And I think that's why we all got involved in sports, because then you had to go to sport, you had to go to your games, you had to do practice. But the neat thing is we all grew up in the store, having to work in the store. And even today, my family still runs the store. My brother Guido runs the store, and people think I make that name up, but Guido Damiani is a real name. It's a real Italian name. Yeah. My crew didn't believe me when my brother came by, and I introduced him one time when he came to visit, and I said, this is my brother Guido. And they go, you made that name up. I go, I did not. In Chicago, it's like John, that name. Yeah. So it's very common. So we all worked in the store growing up. Now my brothers and sisters, on their days off from their jobs, they all go and work in the store to help out on their days off from their regular job. So we're going back in August. We go back every summer, and I have to do a full week in the store. They just put me right on the schedule. As soon as they go, when are you flying in? And then I get to put on the schedule for the whole week. I have to pay for all the salami and the sausage my kids eat when we're there. So but another rule working in our store, my dad's rule was you don't get paid, because you have to do your share to support the family. As a kid, you thought that didn't seem fair, but as an adult and as a mom, now I go, that seemed very fair, that they didn't want to pay us to work in this. So none of us got paid working in the store, and But it taught us a lot of good things. It taught us really about customer service from a very early age. It really did. And we're getting along. So we have a very, very close family. But yeah, so if you're ever in Chicago Heights, come in. We'll give you a free Guido special sandwich. Just say you're from Mesa. Literally, you say you're from Mesa. And I call Guido and say, hey, you're going to have a couple of visitors from Mesa. He fixes you up with an Italian sub that you probably can't get anywhere around here. Yeah.
That's the best offer you're going to get.
Yeah. It doesn't beat the 1 hour on the show for who won, but it does. If you're ever in that area, south side of Chicago, and we are Cub fans. The mayor asked me, how did that end up?
Yeah, I mean, Chicago, I'm not telling you, but a lot of times you assume that somebody from Chicago is a Cubs fan. And they go, wait a minute, I'm from the south side, and that is White Sox territory.
It is.
So how in the world did your family survive in South Chicago not being White Sox fans?
That is a great, I don't know, my dad just fell in love with the Cubs, and when you grow up with all these kids, and from day one, it's the Cubs everywhere. And we're talking hardcore Cub fans.
Really? Yes.
Our store business is based when there's Cub home games at Wrigley Field, for parties, and so yes, we are so we pass Kaminsky Park, we pass White Sox Park to get to Wrigley Field.
That's amazing.
When we go to Cubs games.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It just so happens I'm in Mesa with the Cubs right here, so it's right back at home.
Well, I am so tickled that you guys got a better introduction to Mary. We really are. One of the best things about Mesa, Arizona is Mary Camilli. We are very fortunate to have you in a very critical position in our community, Mary. We're very proud of Mesa Fire. As a mayor, I got to tell you, one of the big challenges I have is, and Mary mentioned it, we need to get more resources. We need to get more staff into our fire department. So that's something that we're working on. But we're all very proud of the great job you do and the great department that you lead, Mary.
Thank you,
very much.
Appreciate that.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate you. Well, we lived through this, right? Nobody was hurt during the course of this show, so my boxes have all been checked. I'd like to thank everyone that came and shared your great stories with us today. Jack Bars from Oregon Stop Pizza. Let's give Jack a round of applause. I promise you, Jack, I will be there soon. That's a great place. Levi, thank you for coming and telling us more about Imagine Mesa. Please go to imaginemesa.com and give us an earful, all right? Tell us what you like. Tell us what you've seen other places. Tell us what we can do to be a better community and to serve your needs better. We appreciate our community spotlight guest, Leilani Tangatau. Thank you, Leilani, and we look forward to supporting you. Again, thanks to our chief, Mary Camilli. Mary, I'll give you another round of applause. Say hi to Guido for us, okay? The breakfast provider today was Moreno's Mexican Grill. Thank you for the great breakfast. And again, encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, to go look again at the tabletops in the back of the room, the great businesses that are here promoting their business. And as always, thank you to Channel 11. They do a great job producing this show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for Channel 11. So I'm sure everyone is now hooked on Channel 11 and on Mesa Morning Live, having gone through this wonderful production this morning. You can see previous shows by logging on to channel11.com. Most of them were hosted in a lot more entertaining fashion than this one was, so encourage you to check that out. And again, please come and experience the show live or in person, and if not, please catch it on Channel 11. And thank you for supporting the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. That's a very important organization in our community. I started a business in Mesa back in 1995, and one of the first checks I wrote was to the Mesa Chamber of Commerce, and it has served me well. It's been a great partner for my business, and encourage everyone to be involved in the Chamber if you're a business person in the city. Okay, thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next month. Thank you very much.